What's up, YouTube interwebs? This Booty the Drunk Guitarist, and guess what? It's another fucking cooking video, and I'll tell you why I'm making this one. I have made a how to make a cheap Singapore made fun at home using ramen noodles, but today we're gonna make it, and this is gonna be the last cooking video I'll make before I start getting back to my normal channel stuff. But today we're gonna make it the right way, and let me show you what we got here. First of all, I got some made fun noodles. I got some diced chopped yellow onions. I've got some chopped green onions. I've got a bag of, yep, you read that, Gulf shrimp. But it's okay because they're peeled and deveined. As long as they're deveined, the oil contamination should be low. And I've got about a pound of, this is beef stir fry mix. Now, it's a little late. It's the 4th of July and I'm doing this the lazy way. So I've basically got everything, bought everything already prepared for me except for the noodles and the spices, which I'll make myself. And like I said, it's because it's late. It's 4th of July. I've been drinking. I don't want to do all the prep. Normally I would chop an onion. I would chop 2 bundles of green pepper. I mean, not green pepper, but green onions. And the spices we're going to use are cilantro, black pepper, white pepper. Now this is kind of hard to find, but that's what most Chinese restaurants use. Salt, curry powder, and my favorite is actually Indian curry powder, hot Madras curry powder. This is my favorite, but I'm getting really low on it, so I've got a McCormick. I couldn't find the hot Madras this last time. I'm going cheap. I always actually go cheap with the garlic, not cheap, but cheating with the garlic. I always use minced garlic, and we're going to use some crushed red pepper. Now, if you really wanted to go cheap, you could use minced onion and chives instead of regular onions. I use this a lot when I don't feel like prepping, because a lot of times I work in a restaurant 10, 11, 12, 13 hours a day. A lot of times I don't want to do prep work when I get home. So I just want to, you know, let's see, the beef was $6, the shrimp was $12. Now, that's, Gulf shrimp's expensive. These were $2 a piece. So we're looking at 6, 18, 20, 22. The noodles are about $1.70, so we'll say 24. Then by the time you add all these spices in, those spices are expensive when you first get them, but they last a long time. So we're talking about probably $25 here. Now, when you say $25 for a meal, let me just say this. You see how much product I'm using. It's a 14-inch wok we're going to be cooking it. This wok will be full to the top. Now, when I cook something like this, I usually get on a kick for Chinese food, and I eat Chinese food for days. Like, I'll cook this, I'll have it for dinner tonight, I'll get up, have it for breakfast in the morning, may have it for lunch, may have it for dinner again. I'll eat this same meal for probably 2 to 3 days. Now, if you think about it that way, now, if I were to just eat it for dinner a couple nights, but like I said, I'm fucking weird. I go on a pizza kick, I call a pizza place, I order $30 worth of pizza, I eat it for 3-4 days. Same with this. This Singapore made fun I make is one of my favorites. I will eat this for 3 or 4 days and eat nothing but this. So, it yields a lot of product. You could probably feed a family of 4 or 5 on this easy. And, you know, that's the problem with Chinese food. Even when you make it at home, it doesn't really stick with you. It fills you up fast, but not too long after that, it's gone. But anyway, let's get to it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my made fun noodles, and I'm going to put them in a, well, basically a large bowl, and I'm going to cover them with absolutely scalding hot water. Not boiled or anything, just hot out of the tap. And they're going to soak for 10 minutes while I start cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and get those soaked and show you what they look like. Then I'm going to start cooking. Oh, by the way, I don't have them out yet, but I'm also going to use egg for the stir fry. 2 ingredients that I forgot to mention was, of course, soy sauce. You're going to use soy sauce in anything Chinese you cook. And some sesame oil or sesame seed oil. Now, I'm only going to use a dab of that, which you'll see in a little bit. Got a little bit of oil in the wok. I don't need a whole lot because this is a Teflon coated wok, and I hate that. I had to buy a new wok just the other day because I got mine out and it hadn't been used in so long it had rusted. It lost all the seasoning. And the only wok that I could find that wasn't seasoned was like a 17-inch wok. and that's just too freaking big. This 14-inch wok is about right. Because I'm one of those, like I said, I work in the restaurant business for a long time. I like to actually work the food, you know. A lot of people don't do that, but I actually work the food while it's in the wok. That's why I've got my handle out instead of turned in like it should be. But anyway, I'm going to let this pan get really hot. I'm going to throw these shrimp in first because they're frozen. And I'm going to get as much water out of this as I can because Chinese food needs to be dry and sticky when you cook it. But anyway, I'm going to get this hot and I'm going to throw the shrimp in. So there you see I've got the Mei Fun noodles soaking in hot water. That's just as hot as it can get out of the tap. I'm going to let them soak for about 10 minutes. It depends on how soft or how hard, tough you like your noodles. After about 10 minutes of soaking in about 140 degree water, they're nice and pliable and about the way I like them because they're going to cook down some more in the wok. So my wok's getting good and hot. I'll fix to throw the shrimp in right now. Like I said, unfortunately, these shrimp are frozen, so they're going to cook down to a lot of water. And I'm not going to start adding any seasonings yet because I want to get this shrimp thawed down, just thawed down enough that I can drain the water off of it without actually starting to cook the shrimp. Then I'll add the beef. And you see how much water it's already got in the pan. Like I said, I'm going to cook this down just so that the shrimp are frozen and they're not starting to cook because these shrimp are raw. And then I'll add the meat. But anyway, while that's cooking down, and I drain it, then I'm just going to not do anything to it, and then I'll be back in just a second. Alright, it's been about a minute, and the shrimp are thawed, and I went ahead and poured a lot of water off of them. Now, if you look, I'm actually leaving a little water in them because I'm not going to make a sauce. I'm just going to season this up, and I'm going to go ahead and add the beef. And what I've done is I've basically just cut the strips of beef down the middle to make them a little bit smaller so that they're more of a, not bite size, but you know what I'm talking about. They're a lot easier to get in. And I'm going to stir these up. In the meantime, these noodles have only been a few minutes, but they're starting to look like little rubber bands that you can break easily. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drain these noodles. I'm going to spray them with cold water and let them sit to dry. Now while everything's starting to cook, while I'm going to salt, I'm going to go ahead and get about a good few tablespoons of this dehydrated garlic. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Let this start rehydrating. Then I'm going to start my seasonings. Now I'm not going to put any sauce on this. So basically the water that's left over from the shrimp and the oil that's coming from the beef is going to start my seasoning. Now when you season this, I don't have a magic formula to this. I season to taste. So I'm going to start out by adding salt. This is pink Himalayan salt. This is a blood pressure thing. I'm going to add black pepper. Now this dish being curry and pepper is supposed to be a good spicy dish. But you know, salt to your taste. So there's black pepper. And what really gives it the flavor and a little bit more extra heat is the white pepper. I'm just going to liberally coat it with that. And when it comes to when it comes to my curry, I mean, I'm serious about this. Lots of curry. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a little cilantro. Now when I get done, I want everything to be yellow with curry. Crushed red pepper. This is going to add the extra heat to that white pepper and curry. And you're going to be able to see that there's a lot of spices and seasonings there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix those up, season this meat, and while I'm seasoning this meat, I'm going to stir it into the waters that I have. And as it looks, I can go by view here. The more yellow, the more curry, the better. But like I said, I have no magic recipe to this. Lots of curry. Lots of curry. And it's starting to get yellow. I'm going to go ahead and add just a touch of sesame oil. By the way, right now I've got my noodles washed in cold water and they're setting, just relaxing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the chopped onions, the white onions. Now when you add vegetables, now the white onions you can cook, but usually when you add vegetables, like if you, when I add the green onions, or if I were using celery, which I'm not using celery tonight because like I said, I don't feel like messing with it. You really want to just sweat the vegetables. Now I don't mind the white onions being sauteed in there, because the more they're sauteed in, the better the flavor in my opinion. But when it comes to adding the green onions, which is basically your last touch garnish, that's something that just needs to be, the vegetables just need to be sweated. That's it. You know, you don't need to actually cook them down. And the meat's all starting to look really delicious right now, but it looks like I need some more seasonings. So I'm going to go with a little bit more cilantro for heat. Because you know, the more you add to it, the more you need to add. Because I just added more onions, so now we need to add to them. There's some white pepper. Oh, that white pepper is so delicious. I don't know if you've ever had white pepper or paid any attention to it or not. Pink Himalayan salt. A little bit more crushed red pepper. I don't see enough red in there. And yes, I'm keeping this wok all the way on high. If you're not familiar with cooking with a wok, when you cook with a wok, you really want to keep it on high, and you want to keep your the way a wok's designed with this bowl shape is when something starts getting too hot, you move it to the outside and cook something that needs to be cooked on a hotter flame down at the bottom, which I'll show you a little bit about here in a minute. But anyway, now that I've got this done, it's about time to go ahead and add my noodles, my made-funs. So, I'll give you a shot at what that looks like. Nice and beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and add my made-fun noodles. Every one of them, all of it. And I like to kind of break the noodles up. When you go to a Chinese restaurant and you buy a Singapore chow mein fun, they don't really cut the noodles up. You get, you know, a whole noodle thing. And when you're eating with chopsticks, you pick up a noodle and you have to suck on them like Lady and the Tramp. And you really got to do a lot of work to get that noodle down your neck. And so I like to just break them up a little bit when I put them in the pan. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to take your spoon and spatula, whatever you're using, to break the noodles up and toss everything so that all your vegetables and everything are tossed into a nice, you want your meat and vegetables tossed into a nice even coat throughout the noodles. You want every bite to be nice and consistent if it's possible. And this takes a little bit of time, takes a little working. And I don't know how much of this video I'm going to edit, if any. That's why I'm just kind of trying to talk you through it, what I'm doing as I go. I think you got a pretty good view of it there. Now, everything's starting to mix up nice and beautifully. I'm going to cut these noodles up just a little bit more. It's coming together nicely. I can tell right now it's not going to be yellow enough for me, which means there's not enough curry in it. Which means I'm going to go ahead and light it up with a little bit more curry. It looks like I'm going to run out of my hot madras here. My favorite curry gone. I'm going to put just a touch of white pepper back in there. Not a touch, I'm using a lot. And I'm going to add a little sesame oil, just kind of stick this all together here. Oop. You notice I only use about a teaspoon of that. That stuff really changes the flavor. Sesame oil really changes the flavor of your food, but it also gives it that authentic Chinese food taste. And I'm gonna mix this up. And it looks like we're getting close. Of course, I'd have to taste it to be sure, but now I'm gonna go ahead and add my green onions because, like I said, we're just gonna sweat those. This is more of a garnish and a flavor add. That's what we're looking like so far. And like I said, these you don't want to cook too much. You just want to sweat them a little bit. Make sure everything's mixed up throughout the noodles. Once again, I'm just kind of separating everything a little bit more. And I'm sure you can tell I've got a 14-inch wok full to the brim right now. But that's okay, because that's all the ingredients we're going to be adding. Now, I'm going to turn it down just for a second. I know I always talk about woks being hot, but I don't want my noodles burning. And I think I still need to do a little bit more seasoning here. I may be incorrect. I need to do a little bit of a flavor check on them. Let's see what we feel like here. Definitely needs more salt and more curry. Oh, you know what the fuck I forgot? Let me get this curry in here. I know exactly what it's missing. Yeah, it's a lot of freaking curry. It's missing soy sauce. Soy sauce will wetting it back up, plus give it that nice salty flavor, give it that brown tint. Everything, almost everything Oriental's cooked with soy sauce. Now it smells like it came together. That's what it was missing, the soy sauce. And I damn near forgot it. Like I said, when you're cooking Chinese food, you want it to be pretty dry. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me try these noodles right here. Look at that. That's it. That's it. Nice and hot, beautiful. Now when it comes to adding the egg, you can do it several ways. You can cook the egg in another pan. You can pour the egg on top and stir it in. But I'm going to turn my wok back up to high. And like I was talking about earlier, how you can move things to the side that don't need to be cooked so much. And you can put things in the middle that need to be cooked more. And here's my little trick. I like to make a little hole down at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour my egg in there a little bit at a time and slowly let it fry. And while it's in there, I want it cooked. You want the egg cooked before you go. I mean, like I said, you could just pour it over the top. You could cook it in a different skillet and transfer it over. But this is the way I do it. But like I said, you want the egg cooked before you go mixing it in with your stir fry. So with that being said, I'm going to put the camera back down And we're going to keep going from there. Y'all don't mind. Get my little makeshift tripod. I got to buy a new tripod. This is a brand new camera, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'm filming on one. But, yeah, it's a brand new camera. And so there's a little bit of egg cooked. Now, I'm only using like 3 or 4 eggs right now. Usually, I like my stir fries and stuff to have a lot of egg in it. So I usually use half dozen on something this big. And by the way, I don't know if I ever told you or not, but usually I go by this Singapore Mayfun at my local Chinese favorite restaurant. And to buy 1 serving of it, that's about, now this is probably 4 servings of, it's almost $9 to get that 1 serving. So, I know I told you in the beginning this was like a $25 meal, but this is like 3 or 4 servings of the same dish from my local restaurant. So anyway, got my eggs stirred up. I just kind of, as they cook, transfer it over on top of the eggs. I mean, on top of the noodles. And then what I'm going to do after that is just stir it up. Get that egg all mixed in there good. Now, a lot of times, if it's not spicy enough or if it's not seasoned enough while that egg's cooking in the middle, I'll go ahead and season the egg. I poured the eggs in slowly today. Like I said, I usually would use a couple more eggs than that on a dish this big because I like my stir fry to be really eggy. I like it to be a lot of meat in it. But it's looking a lot like my Singapore Mayfun is almost to a wrap. And of course I've got some all over the stove here. And I'm going to wipe this up without trying to catch the damn thing on fire. Whoop. On fire we are. See that? Here we go to the sink. That's what happens when a paper towel hits a hot ass stove burner. But now what I've done is I've washed out the pan that I was soaking my noodles in. I'm just going to take this and transfer it over. Because I want to let it rest for a little while before I go to grubbing on it. And just like that, Singapore Chow Mayfun. Let's get a little sample of it and see what it tastes like. One more with some shrimp. Boy, that is good right there. Anyway, that's real Singapore Mayfun, not the ramen noodle cheap one that I made the last video of. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Back to my normal content coming soon. It's Booty the Drunk Guitarist. Didn't do this on cam yet. I'm out. Ugh.